A general with a fancy head. No skeleton can be killed until you kill the general.
Hold up, did Supercell just confess everything? That clip just dropped with the Halloween update, and while everyone's focused on the new skeleton evolution, I'm sitting here thinking, we've literally seen this before. April 1st, 2021, invisible, untouchable skeletons. October 6th, 2025, skeleton army evolution with invisible mechanic. Something isn't adding up. But here's what's gonna melt your brain. That 2021 April Fool's joke wasn't a joke. It was Supercell accidentally leaking this Halloween update 4 years early. They've been doing this for years, and I can prove it. I've cracked their entire playbook. By the end of this video, you'll know what's coming in 2029 before they even announce it. Let me show you the evidence. Fast forward to October 6th, 2025, exactly 4 years and 6 months later. Supercell drops the Halloween update, and guess what's the star of the show? The Skeleton Army Evolution. And get this, when General Jerry is alive, all skeletons in the army become invisible and indestructible. Sound familiar? Because it should. We've literally seen this exact mechanic before, just disguised as an April Fool's joke. Let me break down the evidence piece by piece because this conspiracy goes deeper than you think. In 2021, Clash Royale gave us one of its wildest game modes ever. Totally normal game mode, except it was anything but normal. Ghost Larrys roamed the arena, completely invisible to almost everything. Regular troops couldn't even touch them, and your only hope of fighting back was through spawn damage or well-timed spells. Meanwhile, these sneaky ghosts were constantly chipping away at your towers like unstoppable little phantoms. Now in 2025, and it feels like history is repeating itself, but on steroids. The new Skeleton Army Evolution brings back that same haunting energy. When General Jerry is alive, the skeletons literally vanish from sight, slipping past your defenses unseen. And if you think you can just zap or log your way out of it, think again. They're untouchable by normal counters. The only way to stop the madness, take down General Jerry himself before his army completely overwhelms your defenses. It's chaos, it's clever, and it's pure Clash Royale insanity. The core mechanic is literally the same. Invisible, invincible skeletons that can only be stopped through specific interactions. In game development, especially for mobile games, features are planned years in advance. The fact that we're seeing this exact mechanic resurface after such a specific time frame screams intentional planning. Remember, this isn't the first time Supercell has hidden future content in April Fool's jokes. In 2017, they teased the Elixir Golem in their fake Clan Battles image. And guess what? The Elixir Golem was actually released in 2019. They've literally done this before. They use April Fools as a testing ground for future mechanics disguised as jokes so the community doesn't catch on. Here's what's really telling. Back in 2021, the community hated the Ghost Larry mechanic. Players complained it was unfair, broken, and impossible to counter properly. But now, the Skeleton Army Evolution is being praised as one of the most innovative evolutions yet. Why? Because Supercell spent 4 years figuring out how to balance the mechanic properly. But wait, it gets even crazier. Because the Ghost Larrys weren't the only thing Supercell was secretly testing in that April Fool's mode. Let me blow your mind even further. The 2021 April Fool's event wasn't just testing invisible skeletons, it was a full-scale beta test for multiple future mechanics. Remember how the Ghost Larrys behaved exactly like the Royal Ghost? Translucent, immune to most interactions, only vulnerable to specific counters. Well, guess what else dropped in the October 2025 update alongside the Skeleton Army Evolution? The Royal Ghost Evolution. And its ability? Spawns guards every time he comes out of invisible. Supercell wasn't just testing skeleton invisibility in 2021, they were testing the entire invisibility mechanic system that would eventually become a core part of multiple evolutions. In the normal game mode, players had to use spells like Fireball or Poison to deal with the Ghost Larrys. This forced the community to experiment with spell timing and placement in ways they never had before. Supercell was literally training us for the future meta, disguised as an April Fool's joke. Here's the most insidious part. The event was also testing player psychology. How would the community react to unfair mechanics? How frustrated would players get? What would make them quit versus adapt? The data they collected from that event directly influenced how they balanced the 2025 evolutions. They knew exactly how much unfairness players could tolerate before it became genuinely broken. But here's the question that's been keeping me up at night. If they were testing 2025 mechanics in 2021, what are they testing right now for 2029? This is where we enter full conspiracy theory territory, but hear me out. If Supercell has been planning content 4+ years in advance, we can actually predict what's coming next by looking at their recent jokes. Remember the April 2024 Mega Knight Evolution announcement that everyone thought was fake? The video showed a Mega Knight with arena-wide range, infinite jumps, and the ability to target air troops. Everyone laughed it off as typical April Fool's chaos. But then, in September 2024, we actually got a real Mega Knight Evolution. Coincidence? I think not. What if the joke version was actually a preview of the next Mega Knight Evolution, planned for 2028 or 2029? There's a clear pattern emerging here, almost like Supercell's been leaving breadcrumbs for years. In 2017, they teased a fake Elixir Golem as a joke. And 2 years later, in 2019, the real Elixir Golem actually made its way into the game. Then in 2021, we saw those eerie ghost skeleton mechanics appear in that totally normal game mode, only for 2025 to bring us the invisible skeleton evolution. The pattern is clear. Supercell uses April Fools to test community reaction to extreme versions of future content, then spends 2 to 4 years balancing it for actual release. Based on this pattern, here's what I think we can expect. 2026 to 2027. More invisibility mechanics across different card types. 2028, some version of the joke. Mega Knight, overpowered evolution. 2029, completely new mechanics that they're probably testing right now in ways we don't even recognize. From a business perspective, this is genius. By testing extreme versions of mechanics as jokes, Supercell gets free community feedback on balance, hype generation for future content, data on player psychology and tolerance levels, a way to iterate on ideas without committing to release. But here's the most mind-blowing part of this entire conspiracy. What if every April Fool's joke has been a preview of future content, and we just haven't connected the dots yet? Supercell has never really thrown ideas out the window. They recycle, refine, and reimagine them years later. Every strange game mode, every joke teaser, every bizarre mechanic test, it's all part of their long game. Think about it, those old chaotic experiments where tombstones were spawning giant skeletons and mortars fired goblin barrels weren't random. They were prototypes, early blueprints for the spawn mechanics and projectile interactions that later shaped cards like the Goblin Drill and Mortar Evolution. What looked like madness was actually data collection in disguise. Even their fake content was never really fake. That weird clan battles concept image with unrecognizable cards. It hid the Elixir Golem right in plain sight. What started as a meme ended up as a real card years later. The same thing happened with that empty goblin barrel joke. Players laughed it off. But Supercell was quietly testing the idea of decoys, something that finally appeared in the evolved version of Goblin Barrel, where fake barrels actually mislead defenses. And when the community thought they'd completely lost it with invisible Larry skeletons or random elixir costs, Supercell was busy running controlled chaos. Those moments weren't mistakes, they were experiments. Every overpowered or broken mechanic taught them how players react, how the meta shifts, and what systems they could evolve into something bigger. Even the so-called overpowered Mega Knight Evolution gag wasn't just for laughs. If history has shown us anything, it's that when Supercell jokes, they're usually foreshadowing. The ideas that start as memes often come back years later as fully realized balanced features, proof that nothing in Clash Royale ever really dies. When you look at it from that angle, it's not randomness, it's design. Supercell's chaos always has a purpose. They're not just making fools. They're conducting the largest game development experiment in mobile gaming history, using millions of players as unwitting beta testers. So there you have it, the most insane conspiracy theory in Clash Royale history. And honestly, the evidence is pretty convincing. The 2021 totally normal game mode wasn't just an April Fool's joke. It was a 4-year preview of the Halloween 2025 update. Supercell has been playing 4D chess while we've been playing checkers. But here's the real question, what are they testing right now that we'll see in 2029? What mechanics are hiding in plain sight disguised as balance changes or seasonal events? I want you to start paying attention. Every weird interaction, every broken temporary mode, every balance change that seems random, it might all be part of a much bigger plan. Drop a comment below with your theories. What do you think Supercell is secretly testing for future updates? And if you found this conspiracy theory as mind-blowing as I did, smash that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the hidden secrets of Clash Royale. Because trust me, if this theory is right, we've only scratched the surface of what Supercell has planned for us. The question isn't whether they're planning content years in advance, it's what they're planning next. And after seeing this pattern, I'm both excited and terrified to find out.